Oh, Molly Joe, you just popped over from Cynthia's too. So Molly's visiting a bunch of booths. Going on right now from 4 to 5 Eastern Time, we have 3 shows. We have a show for Charity Wings, and we have my show here, and then we have M&M Designs. So there are 3 shows that you can pick from. You can rotate between them all, but you want to make sure you join the Linqto email list, because in order to win the giveaway today, one of the giveaways I should say, which is this iPad mini, you have to be on the Linqto email list, and you have to have participated in 1 show. So we got a good crowd coming over. We've got lots and lots of fun stuff to make. I'm going to go ahead and turn off my festive Christmas ornaments here to save some of that distraction. I will tell you, I'll put my camera down. Now the key thing you want to think about here whenever you're doing collage is that the color of the substrate, that's the technical word. Now we have a collage artist here, Susan Pickering Rotella, founder of US ArtQuest, so she can correct me as I go through here, but the substrate, the base upon which that you work on your collage, the color of that should always be lighter than the color of whatever you're going to put out on top of it. So if you look at the napkins that I've selected here, they're kind of that beige color. So I went ahead and painted this with Perfect Pigment, which is an acrylic paint from US ArtQuest. Phenomenal colors. If you did this right on the natural chipboard, because the napkins are so translucent, it would really darken. Can you see a little bit of how dark this starts to get over here in that light part? So we always want to lighten the base. We always want the base to be lighter than what we're going to work with. So I went ahead and painted this already so that it would be good to go. Next thing we're going to do is take our napkin. And this is a 2-ply napkin. So you can see that there's 2 layers there. That's what they mean by ply. That's a 2-ply napkin. And I want to separate it. And I'm just going to take a little piece of painter's tape, put a piece of painter tape on each side, and just pull. And do you see how it pulls apart the layers of that napkin? Now this was only a 2-ply napkin. If there were multiple plies, we could keep doing that over and over again. So we want to get down to just this very, very, very top layer of the napkin. Now I'm a hoarder. If you were allowed to see my house, I even save this back part because you can stamp on this and then collage with this. So that's how I made the steampunk clock that was in Just Steampunk magazine. I stamped on pattern tissue, sewing patterns, for example, McCall's, that kind of thing. Stamp on that, and then we're going to collage with it. So the next thing I like to do is get my images out. Now, we could cut this with scissors, but that'll give you kind of a harsh edge. So instead, we're going to cut it using a brush dipped in a little bit of water. And I just told folks over at Cynthia's show, by accident today, I've got a big jar here with, my brushes and water in it. And unfortunately, I was using a glass, and the glass looked just like the glass that I was drinking out of. And by accident, I drank the water that I had my brushes in. So Susan Pickering told me you always have to have a glass with a lid and a straw for drinking. I've learned my lesson, Susan. I have to pay better attention to you. So here, in order for me to get this bird out, I've just dipped the brush in water. And can you see how I'm just kind of wetting that napkin? Because then I can pull it apart, and it's going to give me a nice deckled edge, which is going to show or collage a lot better. I'm not going to get those hard edges. Now I'm going to do the same here. I don't want this hard red edge here around the side, so I'm just going to pull that right apart. And I think I'm going to save these little strips, because I think I might actually use these little strips around the edge of the ornament. I'm not sure, but I'm going to save a bunch of those. And let's see, I'll probably need a little bit of this big holly piece right here. So we're going to just pull that apart. Set those things aside for a minute. and come back to our ornament. Now, I'm using cat food cups, and I'm using perfect, don't throw away those edges. I'm not, Sandy, I am not throwing away those edges. Now, can you tell I'm a hoarder because I save everything? Is this bad, Sandy, that I have to save even those little scraps? Because in my mind, I'm looking at that little scrap, and I'm thinking, look, I could put that little scrap right around the edge of that ornament and make kind of a stripe all the way around, and then I could probably put some mica and really bling that out. So you're right, I'm not going to throw away that little scrap. I can't help it. So I'm using perfect paper adhesive. This is a US ArtQuest product. This is the matte. And hopefully, is this writing right side up for you folks? I can't tell which way the camera faces. So perfect paper adhesive is a glue it's never sticky. So the cool part about this is I can stick it on my finger here, actually rub it in, and look when I touch the napkins, you know, the napkin it's not sticking to my hand. If you were doing this with Mod Podge or Elmer's, any other glue that's a PVA, polyvinyl acetate, then you're going to end up a really sticky mess. And the other problem with those glues is they never completely dry. They're always absorbing moisture. Whereas PPA, perfect paper adhesive, it's not sticky, so it's great with these delicate materials, and it's going to dry absolutely, absolutely solid. Oh, what a great idea, Robin. Great idea. Sealing stones with it. So I'm going to take a bigger brush. Make sure you put the string for the ornament on the top. I was rushing earlier and already screwed that up. I had a bird that was sideways. And I'm just going to coat this whole area with perfect paper adhesive. And I've got my pretty little cardinal. That was my mom's favorite bird, was the cardinal. So I put the cardinal on, and then I like to think of this the same way my mom used to told me when she makes pie crusts. You always work from the center out. And I want to show you, look how hard I'm pressing with that brush. There's really no way to give you that sense on camera, but this napkin, it would not tear at all. The PPA is so kind of like silky smooth, it doesn't tear the napkin. And to get around this edge, oh, by the way, did I mention we're making a whole bunch of Christmas ornaments today? So this is one of those Christmas ornaments. To get over that edge, I just kind of pull it over, if you can see how that's working. So just kind of wrap it right around and pull that right over. And there's the start of our ornament. I think I'm going to put some more holly up in here. Again, always working, dipped in the PPA, work from the center out, just like you're working on a pie crust. We're going to work all the way around the edge. And I'm actually going to just flip this over and pull it straight to the back. Because I'm going to collage the back too. I won't do it today on cam, but that's how I'd finish each one of these, is I do the front and the back. So there's the beginnings of our little ornament. And it looks like I need something up around here somewhere. So I've got some more cut out. I'm just going to kind of use my brush as kind of a wet scissor. I don't like that hard edge there, so we're going to get rid of that. And put some more PPA in there. Now I think the cool thing is what we're going to do after this. And I hope today we get 4 or 5 different ornaments done, all with different techniques. So I'm going to just stick this little bit of holly kind of up there maybe. And you can see I went right over that little bit of the cardinal, but the napkins are so transparent. Now can you see there's catch it on camera. Let me see if I can get any closer. There's a really hard line there because that was the edge of the napkin. I didn't sort of tear it with the brush. So I'm going to go in and just tear it with my finger here, just to soften it. I just don't like those really hard edges. So I'm going to wrap this right around, just like you saw me do on the other end. And you can be kind of aggressive with the brush. It's not going to tear that napkin. That PPA is so smooth, that's going to work great for that. So there's the start of our little bird ornament. I want to bling it up a little bit. So I'm going to add some more PPA, kind of a top coat of PPA. Now I'm using matte. You could use gloss as well. Gloss would give you that real nice shiny finish. I'll actually use a little scrap of napkin to clean my craft mat. There you go. And Robin, it is so easy. This is easy. You could do this. You can do this. Now I'm going to put some crystal effects. Crystal effects, well, I like to think of it as fairy dust. It's just beautiful stuff. And there's two little bottles in the tube. One is opal and one is gold. And the only way you can see it is if you could read the label. And I know you can't read the label on cam because of the bright lights there. But I'm going to use the opal one. And the key here is to just open this up and take a little pinch with your finger. And can you see? It's just sprinkling on. Now you can't really tell on cam, but that's adding a little sparkle. And I'm going to pick it up and tilt it so you can see it. So there's that front of that ornament. Now it's still wet, but is the camera, I think it's picking up a little bit of sparkle. Can you see a little sparkle on the bird? Now we can heat it up, and I want to show you the coolest thing. This, by the way, is the heat gun I like, Milwaukee. I think this is the best brand of heat gun. No offense if you have your own personal favorites. But I had Martha Stewart's, and I might as well have held a fan in front of a candle. I mean, it was useless to do anything serious. And this Milwaukee, this is some serious heat gun. But you know how they have that little, this little piece here that sits at the bottom that you're supposed to use to rest your heat gun? When this gets hot, this scares me, this little thing. I don't feel very safe with this thing on it. So look at the heat gun holder that I bought. This is a serious heat gun holder. Can you see it on camera? This is like a 1/4-inch thick piece of steel. And it's great. I had to take off this little piece. But when you take that piece off, see how this fits right in here? And I'll tilt it so you can see it on camera. Do you see how that just holds your heat gun in the air? So how perfect is this? Like, this is not going to get knocked over if the cat comes up here, if I'm stupid and by accident knock it over. This heat gun holder is fantastic. So I'm going to fire up the Milwaukee. You're going to hear some noise. Well, wait a minute. Maybe I should try the little edge piece that we talked about, where Sandy saw that I wasn't going to lose any of those scraps. I'm just curious to see how well that works. Looks like I need a little bit more PPA. Let's see if I can just put this scrap right around the edge. Now, look at that. I'm pretty happy about that. I did not try this in advance, so I wasn't sure if this was going to look okay. I think that looks pretty good. I like that little red stripe. And we could go all the way around because I saved the red stripe from my other project. So I'm just going to keep putting this red stripe all the way around. And it's just napkin. So how cool is that? If you want to make your whole browser window bigger, I think you can hold down the control key, and if you have a wheel on your mouse, spin that little wheel, and I think it'll make everything bigger. I think it should work with the video too. I'm not 100% sure. Now I'm not going to go all the way around with the stripe because I don't want to bore you, and I want to show you what we're going to do next to this one. And then we've got a whole bunch more ornaments to work on, so I don't want to spend too long on one. But look at the stripe that it's put all the way around. So I'm pretty happy about that. I only have this little piece to go, so I lied. I am going to finish this. we're going to dry it fast, because I know Tristan told me once he didn't want to watch paint dry on a show, and I agree with him. So we're going to just put this little bit of red on there, tear that off, collage that on. Look at that. Fabulous. Fabulous. I love it when a plan comes together. Now, this, if you're not Italian, this is called a mappina. So I've got a mappina here, an old dish towel that I use to keep things clean. But I'm going to go ahead and hit this quick with the heat gun. Take it out of my killer holster. I just want to kind of dry it a little bit fast. Yeah, it is, Terry. It is a happy accident. I like that red border. And we're going to try to bling it out.